Broken Soul. That was a crazy one, man. Like, it was funny to write this one. Growing up in Florida, we got this Western store, man, called Skip's Western Wear. I've gone to Skip's. I've known him since I was like 15, 16 years old. He took me one day. He's like, bada bing, bada boom. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm at the house. He's like, he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I don't really know. He's like, well, come pick me. He's like, come pick me up. Well, I was gonna come pick him up, and then I wound up meeting him, and we wound up going over to New Smyrna Beach and Edgewater area. We're hanging out over there, and when I'm in his house, they wanted me to come and play. So I brought my guitar, picked a few tunes, whatever, And they were just hanging out by the pool. And we come back in, and they're all like, hey, let's go get oysters. So we go to this place called Blackbeard's, man. And Blackbeard's they have good oysters. And so we're getting ready to leave, but I'm sitting there at his kitchen, and his wife's like getting up, trying to put something up on the wireless internet thing, and I'm like looking at just like the environment. I see her grabbing the box, see Skip sitting over here, see his buddies, his buddy over here, like they're all hanging out, and his buddy's wife gets down, and she's like, you want another drink? And I go to grab one, and then we sit, and he's like, I got this bottle I want to show you. I'm like, what's that? He's like, it's called Heaven's Door. So I'm like, okay. He's like, Bob Dylan, you know Bob? I'm like, yeah, everybody knows Bob Dylan. And so he's looking at, and he has this bottle, and he pulls it out, and so Bob Dylan made like this special like line of bourbon. I'm sitting there on my guitar playing, and I start like I was like, I'm gonna write a song, and they pull out a blunt, and they start smoking this blunt, and they're like, you're like, I'm like, you gonna give me the roach? And then I take a puff off this roach, right, pass it back, sit down there, and I'm like, high top sitting with a roach. And then I started writing, and I wrote the first verse, man. I'm like, high top sitting with a roach, and the slow burn, yeah, I like that smoke. And man, it was just like, and I was like, the devil's lettuce and bourbon shot got me knocking on heaven's door. And I was like, man, what a perfect throw in, man. But I just like started thinking about, things that I had experienced, things I had gone through. Everybody's had a lost love. And I was like, but how do I make this a little bit different? And I have this cool line, man, in there. And it's like this hat right here, man, this is it's my Stetson hat. It's a 50X, right? And it's my Rattlesnake band. But I wrote this Broken Soul song, and I put a line that said, 50X, rattlesnake, and a firing pin. This old cowboy broke down again. And it was just like that. It was such a hard line because it was just like this guy that was in love with this girl. He never thought that he would feel a certain way until to let her walk away. He's like, broke down when I hit a wall. You hit that wall in a relationship where it's just like a plateau, like nothing you do, you can't climb it, you're done. He's like, heartbroken in, my brain is crawling. Never thought I'd feel this way until I let you walk away. It was like that teeter-totter, like it was like that tug of war, man. Like he didn't want to let her go. This guy is trying to prove to his woman, like, I love you, like I want to do everything to fix this, but he fucked up. He did something so wrong that he just can't. You can't fix it, but he's a broken soul, and the only time that he can feel healed is he found closure and found his healing by being high. The freest place I can find control in is in another state. And it was kind of like a metaphor, right? Like being in another state, like traveling, going to different places, playing different shows, being in different spaces. Like you think being around different people is always going to be the thing that's going to fix it, and it's not going to fix it. It's just whether he's away somewhere in a different state of way or he's in a different state of mind. In a different state of mind, whether it's being high or just being in a different state of mind, whether he's being drunk or being in a state of mind, just being in a different state of mind, trying to disconnect. Those are the things that help him heal. And he has to go through some really rough nights until he finally gets that inner peace with himself and closure of that relationship to start that next chapter. And you know, that's everybody has a childhood or a love that they want to last forever, but sometimes it takes a broken soul to move on to what's better ahead.
You might have not made it the bottom, but I'm a broken soul in a happy place.